Welcome in, everyone. Today's video we're going to recap the flow alerts that came in Stock Hub for the week of 4/22/2024 to 4/26/2024. So we're going to kind of go over the flow alerts that I posted, what stuck out and why it was good flow and all that. So let's get started here. So I'm gonna kind of go over the call out on the time and all that. I'm going to show everybody kind of the range of the contracts. So we're going to kind of touch on what's there as well. So our first one came on Monday, April 22nd at 2024 at 9:03 a.m. I am Central Time for those that don't know. So this was on the PLD 621.95 put. So when this came in, obviously this was a whale that was opening the trade, and you can tell that because the size was more than the open interest. So obviously this whale was opening a trade. So let's so here's the flow here when that came in. So volume there coming in, open interest only 169. Nice spike in net put premium there. Can obviously see it's a very clean entry on the flow there. So let's go over to the contract now. So here's the PLD. Whoops. So again, this came in Monday. Here's your entry at 9 o'clock. So and entered at 148. That's where you see the average fill there. And this whale looks like they're still in. Obviously you can see that kind of based off the open interest and volume here, but these did hit a peak this week. So I'm just going to kind of go over the entry into the peak for the week. So a lot of these whales are actually still in, so do with that information as you wish. But so this was a 148 entry. These hit 170 on 4/25. So that was a 148 to 170. That's almost a 15% return, about 14.86%. As a max, this whale is obviously still in and bumping this net premium out too. Obviously, you can see there's a spike in net put premium throughout the week, so something to watch there as well. But yeah, this is one thing I like to do. Always check that historical volume open interest here. So moving on, so that one was a for the week, 14.86%, just intra week. So moving on here, our next one that came in was BAC, and this came in on, I want to show everybody here, Monday, April 22nd, 2024, 12:34. So we had the BAC repeated hits on the 621.39 call at a spot of 86. Spot is just a fill. Obviously all ask side transactions. Size here was 83.18. So this is one that I wanted to look into because the open interest was 74.50 here. So usually with something like this, well, I'll actually pull up this and it'll show a little better. So the open interest, obviously could see this was more than likely an opening trade, just kind of based on the volume and stuff. Just as you kind of get into this, you'll understand it a little bit more, but I'll pull it up on the flow here to actually look a little better. So that was a PLD. So BAC, and the way I like to check, if I saw like that volume that's close to the open interest, you can just kind of back it out. Obviously you can kind of see this isn't a closing trade, and you can even go out 60 days if you really want. You can see there hasn't been a lot of volume here before. Obviously you see some open interest on these ask side calls, which could have been closed, but you can make an educated guess this is an opening position, just kind of based on all that volume going on there. And let me pop this back to the week. So BAC, that entry was 0.86, and these actually hit a max return on the week of 113, which would give you 31.40% there. So intraday week, and these hit on 4/23 for that max return, and also on the 24th 111, so still up. And again, this whale looks like they're still in, just based on that open interest volume. So you can see that 11,000 kind of carrying over, and a good way to check to see if that is a position closure, just always check that open interest the next day to see how much carries over. So BAC 31.40% there. And again, kind of looking at that net premium, let me pop it out 7 days. A lot of call net premium here, mixed in with some bearish net premium, but good call net premium, so good sign there. So bump this out, and we are going to move on now to WFC. And again, Monday, April 22nd, 2024. So WFC had repeated hits on the 517.61 call, fill at 148, heavy ask side puts there at a size of 966, and you can see the volume was only 1249 for the day, so can see this is an opening position and can easily tell that by looking right here. So here you go, here's that volume a little earlier in the day. It's 1300 on the day. There was no open interest on this chain, so that helps too. And just coming and looking at the net premium here as well, ask side puts here, so, and we were sitting bid side calls and kind of looking at that volume. It was a lot more ask side puts than bid side calls, etc. So now let's look at the trades so far. So where are we? WFC was for some reason I couldn't get that to save. So here's the 517.61 put. Here's your entry at 148, and these actually topped out at 208 on the 25th, so yesterday, Thursday, which would have given you a 40.54% return if you would have got out there. They look like they closed at the 26th here today at 193, so still up there. And again, looking at the kind of just based off the volume and all that, can see the whale's still in. There is your end, or the volume carrying over, still all in there as well. So, and this is the contract lookup area, so I'll actually have a video on how to use this section in the future. I was just having issues pulling that contract into the lookup area, so close that out. So moving on now, we had UAL, and again these were all on Monday, so April 22nd. No edits, etc. I don't like to edit my posts, so here we are. UAL, we had repeated hits on the 517.56 call, all ask side, 1500 for size, and the volume here 2332. So this is kind of getting up there in volume, so this is why you always want to dig into the data. And to pull up that volume chain, all you do is click this contract date right here. So you click that, and this window will come up, which you can see we had some more ask side calls there as well, so a little mid-fill flow. But then here's your big entry here. You look at the net call premium, we are spiked up here, a lot of bid side put premium. There's your volume on the day, you can see it's no bid side, and I always like to watch that multi-leg too. I don't like getting stuck in between the multi-leg stuff. You don't know what they're doing, could be a roll, not 100% sure. I try to avoid anything that's multi-leg. So coming back out here, so let's go look at the UAL contract. So again, here we are. So you're 7 days out, so here's the 22nd, your 136 fill. This one didn't get a super great return, and it looks like this whale may have got some more bid side action here. Actually, it looks like a lot of this carried over, but let's take a peek still. So this was 136 for your fill. These topped out at 149. Not the best return, almost 10%, just a tick under at 9.56%. And when you see this bid side stuff here, usually to me that would kind of mean they could potentially be selling. But coming over here, and this was on the 24th, so we had more volume here, which I'm going to assume they cut some of theirs. It could be this whale that was cutting here. Obviously can see the candle size. Unusual whales makes it really visually easy to kind of follow the stuff. So you're looking at these two small candles here, two small candles there, the one large one there, this whale probably cut their loss. They got in at 149. Looks like they cut about 63, 76. But this big whale may still be in, so obviously keep an eye on that open interest. So moving on here, we have, so we're coming on to April 23rd now, so Tuesday, April 23rd. DDOG came in, DDOG, so we had repeated hits descending fill here. So 957 on the size, the spot was 201, the fill, that's what the contract fills at. Total premium of 192,000. So 957 contracts towards the ask side, and it's a shorter term trade. So the aggression on this to me is they're looking for a more quicker move versus contracts that are kind of like 70 days, 80 days out. So that is the contract there. And looking at this, here's your giant whale. You can see the volume there against the open interest. Huge spike in call net premium, and DDOG was already kind of up for the day there a bit. So now let's look at the contract. Oops. So I'm gonna bump this down a little. No, not yet. So 7 days. So here's your entry at 201. This whale actually hit on the 23rd, same day. These hit 392, which was a really great return. But you can see that most of that volume carried over. Looks like a little profit taking there in the little red mid-side candles. Some profit taking, or maybe somebody cutting a little bit here at 156. But these closed at 347 today on the 26th. These hit a high of 380 here as well. So 201 to 380, which is an 89.05% gain. So you could have actually got that here, actually a little better return here at 392 same day. So that whale also kind of looks like they may still be in. Obviously want to check that open interest, but with it being up this far already, I probably wouldn't want to chase something like that. So moving on, then we had Zoom. So Zoom, we had repeated hits descending fill for the 531.65 calls with a fill of 174, 111K, 640 contracts transacted there against 231 open contracts. And again, looking at the whale entry, very clean flow. Here's some of the volume before, some bid-side volume. Huge spike in call net premium. And let's back out to the flow here. So Zoom. So this was your whale fill here, and I can actually bump this down a little. So no, not yet. Just one more day on the next flow I can grab it, so it's a little easier to read. But so 173 was their fill, and this whale you can clearly see from the 23rd, so 686. What do we got here? You can just scroll over and see it. So 173, these actually hit 213 on the 24th. So whoops, fat fingers for a Friday. So these hit 213 on the 24th. That's a 23.12% gain there. Looks like this whale is still in, so kind of can obviously tell based again off the volume to open interest. Volume here on the 23rd carried over into the 24th, and haven't seen that big chunk come down yet. And again, can see the multi, well, you can come down here also if you want to look at this. So we're looking at the 24th. Let's look. You can see obviously there's no multi-leg volume there, and it's nice because you can always look at that total premium too for that day. So the more data here, I mean, again, unusual whales makes it really easy to follow these whales, which is really nice. So let me back out of Zoom now, and we're going to move on to Palantir, PLTR. So again, we had repeated hits on the 5/17/22.5 call for 2834 contracts. Clearly an opening position with a spot fill of 157. Open interest 419. Volume 2954, and this just kind of tells you the volume to open interest. So that's 7 times the volume coming in over the open interest. Unusual, you could say. So let's look at this. So here's your whale, and a little tougher on the net premiums here to follow when it came in. Put net premium was coming up and call net premium was up. Obviously the call net premium was up a little higher, and looking at that volume, it was heavier ask side calls as well. So let's go look at the contract. So, which obviously when I'll pull it up here and make it a little easier for everybody to see. So when we had so this was on the 23rd. So this is when we saw the heavier, or it was more mixed on the net premium. Obviously we saw that drop in the contract premium over here down to 114, so that fill was 157, hit 114 because Palantir actually dropped a bit. And let's take a peek at the stock chart here. So look at the week. So the 23rd, obviously we were about 21.99 there. We hit a low of 21.04, so that's where we kind of saw that spike in the net put premiums. So let me come back to the net premium here. So obviously, I mean, a lot of net call premium here as well, so good sign. So this whale, 157 was their fill. These topped out today on the 26th at 188, so that's 19.75% intra-week trade again. And always coming down here, I will always look at the volume into open interest. This is the most important part you need to do, just to make sure that whale's still there. So again, 3267 contracts traded that day, with 2729 carrying over into the 24th, and obviously we didn't see a big drop in contracts, so whale's still in. Can visually see that down here as well. So good sign there for Palantir, and also looks like that whale's still in. So on to the next one, and this is actually kind of the worst one of the week. So this was Alcoa AA. So we had repeated hits on the 5/17/33 put, fill of 0.74 at 112K. Clearly an opening position because the volume is greater than the open interest, and that volume is 116 times the open interest. So, and this is kind of what I tell everybody in the group as well too. When you look at the days to expiration, if you're getting something 80-90 days out, you don't care as much what's happening intra-week or a couple weeks. You are looking, your long-term perspective on that specific trade is a longer time frame. That's why you're 80, 90, 100 days out. Now if your flow that comes in is 5 days out, you're looking for that aggressive move in a short amount of time versus a longer amount of time. That's the way I look at it and understand it. So let's look at AA. So one more time here. 5/17/33 put at 74, 112K. Here is the whale entry, obviously a clean entry. Volume clean there. Net put premium coming up, and you can see it kind of change more to ask side calls, or more ask side calls than ask side, or ask side puts than ask side calls. But the call net premium would just switch to bid side calls there as well. So let's pull up the flow here. So this one, okay, I'm just going to keep it on the 7 days. So here's your entry. This didn't really give a good return currently. So I mean, 74 was the fill. They hit about 76 on the day. That is, I mean, not even, that's not even a 4% gain, 3% maybe. But obviously this whale, a little longer time frame, can easily track this whale, which is really nice because here's your all your flow coming in. You are looking at the open interest here, and all that open interest carrying over. And one thing too that I like to do, if you click on the candle here, I didn't want to dive into this on every single one just because it can take a little bit, but switch this here. The one thing I like to look at is, so I'll come to where that alert is. Let me come to the beginning here. What happened? Let me, okay. So the one thing I like to do, please don't do it again. Okay, it's not going to cooperate with me today. I'll show everybody on just that first page then. So let me flip this to the 250. It's probably because, okay. So here's that flow that's coming in. I always like to look at the IV too. So right now you're at 50.70. Seeing an increase in IV, so 50.70, a little drop there, 50.70. You can see it increasing 51 here, 50.91. This is a good sign. This can you can kind of count this as somebody potentially buying those contracts. So 51.47, you can see how the IV's increasing there. So I'll do a different video on this. This is one thing I like to look at though. You want to see that IV increasing. So that's, and you can just find that in there. I'll do that for the rest of them. Actually, we only have a couple more tickers to go over. So IV was increasing there. That net premium, as you saw in the other video, was increasing as well. So this was only almost at 3% gain. This whale looks like they're still down a bit at 0.41. So moving on here. So then we had Mara puts on the 24th that came in. So repeated hits on the 517, 16.5 call. One spot for the fill. All ask side, obviously clearly an opening position. 100K there. And looking at the net premium also, you can see here's your clean entry, net put premium spiked. Volume, looking at that, it's more ask side puts than calls. A lot of bid side calls coming in. And let's look at the flow. So Mara, so here is your flow. Whale obviously swung these, and Mara actually gapped down 5% the next day. These were one, and they topped out at 116. 16% return there. And looking at the flow here, let me pull up the candle. Bump that results out. Coming down here, so 110.75. Can see that IV increasing, which is a great sign, which would, you can assume, buyers there. So that was a 16% return there. And next we have two more to go over. So we have TXN, so Texas Instruments, I believe. So, and they had earnings on the 24th, I want to say. So repeated hits on the 517, 177.5 call, 245 fill, 580 on the size. Volume on the day with that was 621, so against 118 open interest, 5 times the volume roughly. And looking at this, clean entry, and can see there's your volume on the day. Big spike, but so the thing here that kind of would throw me off, big spike in the put net premium, but we did see a spike in net call premium as well too. So let me pull up the flow. So here is your flow for the day on that. So we'll look at the camera, the candle. So bump this out. And one thing I like to do, if you're wondering how I let me bump this back, as if how you save these contracts. Nice easy way to do that is if you click on that candle, which brought up this flow, you can just mark, if you just hit that little heart, they'll all save in this little My Trades area. Good way to follow the whales and check the contracts the next day. Nice little side tip there as well. So we were looking at TXN. That out. So again, another one. IV increasing 23.31, down a little bit 23.40, 23.40. Just see that IV increasing and then coming up here a little bit more. Good sign there. And these ran, so 245, and these actually hit 397, so that's a 62.04% return there on those. And these came in on the 25th, so obviously that volume turning into open interest there. Looks like this whale may still be in. Obviously would want to check that Monday. And again, kind of more of a midterm flow there, I'd say. And our last one would be MRVL, so Marvel. And let me, where is my Discord? Where'd you go? Okay. So this came in today. Repeated hits ascending fill on the 5/372 calls. So this was 7 days out. This was next week's expiration. This whale was being very aggressive. So like I was saying earlier, you're looking at a shorter time frame there. More aggressive trade. So 61 was the spot on those contracts at 1637 contracts, all ask side premium at 99K. So clicking on that, and again, to get to the volume there, all you do is click that contract. Here's your clean entry, net call premium spiking, and let's go look at the contract. So again, 61 fill. These hit a high of 0.86 today, so that's 40.98%, and stayed about 0.82 for the day. 81 looks like they closed about 0.73. So again, kind of looking at that volume, and we did have some more ask side calls come in there. Obviously want to see how much of that volume carries over into open interest. And obviously you can see the net premium here on the day. I like to click on the candle again. See what came in this morning. Let's see if it'll, hey, there we go. So your IV again, 48.65 there. Come back down here. So again, this was it was decreasing a little bit more here. So 48.85, but then I saw it kind of spike there again. So I mean, good sign there. And then obviously we kind of kept going up a little bit, staying high on the IV. And so those ran 0.61, we'll say 0.86, so 40.98%. So that was kind of our recap for the week on the flow alerts posted in there. Again, one thing I like to do, you don't have to follow the whales 100%. You should always use caution and be smart, adjust stops up when you're green, have good risk management and all that when you're following, especially random flow, because you don't know exactly what this whale is thinking. And keep in mind, not all flow is going to work all the time either. These people are humans too. They make mistakes. They get things wrong. So always please practice good risk management, practice due diligence, and just be smart about everything. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and look forward to posting more of these. Have a great weekend, everyone.